Hello people, Jaffa here. Today I'm doing something a bit different and I'm checking out the latest snapshot. Hearing about the Pale Gardens and the Creaking with the new snapshot coming out, I wanted to check it out and answer some questions. Going to be covering a mix of things during this video, so I'm going to use the chapters to kind of segment it off. So together we can answer the questions of the Pale Garden and the Creaking. Let's do this. So opening up the snapshot on the main menu, you just go into single player and the create new world. And what you're wanting to do is on the experiments, head on over here, and the winter drop is for the Pale Gardens. But heading back into the world I'd already set up. I started off in creative just so I could find a Pale Garden. What I've noticed is they always seem attached to a dark oak. The first one that I found was pretty small, however, this one that I've got, it's fairly large and on a nice big hill as well. So the first thing I'm wanting to do is actually just have a go in survival. I'm just going to stick on this hill, try and gather some resources and see what I can find, and see how it goes surviving the first night. However, like a lot of people out there, when finding out about the snapshot and watching Minecraft Live, well, I felt like something was missing. So I am going to give myself blindness. Right, let's put myself in survival, and let's give this a go. Oh, it feels like so long since I've punched a tree. Bit of crafting. I'm actually going to turn up all my sounds. Okay, I've turned my sounds up in the eerie noises. Wow. Okay, this is actually really freaky. Okay, I'm not usually one for making wooden tools, however, you know, the situation calls for it, right? So the reason for the blindness, what I noticed is a lot of people were asking for a fog effect. I usually have a fog mod installed, however, with it being a snapshot, unfortunately I'm not able to use the mods. But I thought giving myself blindness kind of gives the effect. Honestly, these eerie noises are a lot scarier than I thought they would be. And the issue with the blindness is I'm not sure if it's daytime or nighttime. Okay, so you do actually seem to get 1-for-1 with these vines. Can you climb them? You can't. Okay. They are not climbable. Okay, so let's get some stone. Can't be doing with wooden tools. So what I found interesting is... So is that a carpet? It is. Okay, so that's grown on there. But if I put a block down, okay, it instantly like grows up it. No matter which order you place them in. Which is good to know. Oh, you can... So you can't get rid of them. And if you try and break that vine, it breaks the carpet. So like I say, I wasn't originally going to use this blindness effect. I was going to use a fog effect. However, I kind of like that I don't know if it's daytime or nighttime. Oh, the ground is getting darker. I feel like night is here. How do you play Minecraft again? Oh no. I feel like I've made a mistake. I should be making torches. This is horrifying. I feel like this is worse than my completing Minecraft blind challenge. Oh. Honestly, this is really horrifying. That's an idea. Can they get in the trees? Go away, zombie. So honestly, one thing I would prefer is that the other hostile mobs don't spawn in this biome. I would like it to be similar to a deep dark, where you've got the one threat of the creaking. So yes, as far as I'm aware, non-hostile mobs don't spawn in here, so you can't get any sheep or cows, which I kind of get for the atmosphere. However, yeah, as that zombie's reminded me, yeah, getting rid of the hostile mobs, I feel should be a factor. Like you. Nobody wants you. Okay, I've got myself some torches. Try and light up the area a little bit. Ow. So I've still got odd little bits of eerie noises, however I haven't seen any creaking. This is feeling like a very long night. I'm kind of curious, is it day? Because has it got lighter? Okay, I mean I've got to quickly. It is daytime, so with a normal view the sky goes nice and grey. With the fog effect, I wouldn't want it as intense as the blindness. However, currently, just because it's a snapshot, I can't get an in-between, unfortunately. I could see what it's like with the darkness. It's quite nice, you know, you can see a bit further. Honestly, it's a little distracting. I think it works well for the deep dark because, you know, you're usually in caves. However, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it as much. Let's go back to the blindness. Okay, so the creaking. Let's talk about the creaking. I didn't see any during the first night. They were probably around. However, they only come out at night, which honestly, I'm not too sure about. I feel like if this biome went mob-free, apart from the creaking, had the fog effect, it would work well. That made me jump. It would work well any time of the day. And what I'm curious about is if I mine enough trees, am I going to find one of the hearts? I heard something. No, it's daytime. Stay away, please. The thing that I find interesting is the heart, I believe, has to be like... Oh. The thing that I find interesting is the heart, I believe, is always going to be surrounded by blocks. And with a 2x2 base of the tree, it's surely got to be where one of the branches is sticking out. Still no hearts. There's one. That looks pretty cool, honestly. It's interesting because I don't know if it's like this when it's not lit, but it seems to have got a pinker texture next to the light. Oh. Why has that gone off? Wait, is it nighttime? Oh no, it is basically nighttime. Oh, is it? Ooh, hello. Yes, this is honestly how it should feel. Okay. Yep, this is how it should feel. Oh, hello. That's how it should be. Honestly. Darkness effect. Wow, this is very freaky. You tried to do a circle around me, you're smart. Okay, they're quite noisy, which is a benefit, I guess. One thing I'm curious about, if I F5, I can't really see anything. So I'm looking at you there, however... Okay, so my character has to be looking at you. Yeah, they're pretty noisy. And if I hit you, you direct me to your tree. Wow, okay, trying to nudge them is a gamble. But yes, you can't hurt these guys at all, apparently. I mean, I'll be testing that properly later. Do you want to come this way? So you're not in that tree. Ooh. It's going to be quite tricky to try and, like, mine this tree while keeping an eye on this guy. Do you want to come a bit closer? Are you in this tree? Looks like you might be. And there's your heart. So, come a bit closer. Come on, don't be shy. I don't like that you're that side, though. That's really cool. I really like the animation for that. It, like, fell to pieces and disintegrated. Okay, so I don't know if that noise is them spawning in. It sounded like it was this direction. There we go. Well, that's kind of rude. So this is my issue. Yep, my issue is dealing with multiple mobs. Okay, there's a lot of mobs. There's a lot of mobs. Why isn't my sprinting working? Ow. Oh, look at that. I have 64 steak in my inventory. How convenient. Oh, look at that. I have a shield. Okay, I kind of want to survive just to experience this fully. Because, yeah, I feel like the other mobs just don't allow you to. Just stay where you are. Ooh, I like the kind of little heartbeat when I do that. Seems like it doesn't always happen. I'm worried there's a second one because I can hear some more creaking. Hence the name. It's a very suitable name. The animation looks a bit janky with the walking, but it kind of is scary, you know? Ow. Oh wait. Okay, I know I'm on easy. Doesn't take too much damage actually. Let me just put it to hard. 1.5 hearts. That's not crazy difficult. It's definitely not an Enderman standard. Right, what I'm going to try and do... 3 blocks is tall enough to escape this guy. I can look away. 2 blocks. Huh? Is it daytime? Oh, it is daytime. Okay. Okay, so I think that is enough of the survival aspect. However, I never got to finish this experiment. So, night. Ooh, there's a few of you. So we worked out 3 is fine to pillar up. 2 is not. 2 is not good. 2.5. 2.5. 2.5 is not good enough. 2.5. Very much not good enough. 3 it is. 3 it is. What are they like with the pathfinding? Go away, creeper, I can see you. Yep, the pathfinding seems fairly good. I've got a 1, 2, 3 block that they can't quite get to me. Seems like their hitbox is quite big for what it is. I guess they've got the one side leaning, so that kind of explains it properly. How did you hit me? Rude. Let me get a good look at you. Stay where you are. Interestingly, when they try and fight over a spot, they will carry on moving. Oh! So, that arm is slightly out of the hitbox. This side seems fine, but that's an interesting observation. Maybe the hitbox isn't so big, but it's kind of a... Obviously they're quite chunky on top and then shorter on the top and the bottom. So as you've seen, when you punch them, it doesn't do them any damage. However, you get this particle effect, which leads to a certain tree where they have their heart, and if you destroy the heart, they disintegrate. Now what I'm curious, why is he floating? I feel like they have to be in the center of a block, or at least like not hanging off, because their roots need to attach. Maybe I'm overthinking that, but let's see if this guy does it. Well, this one is. Ow, I mean I was looking at you. Do I need to look you in the face or something? Okay, so I got the 2 here. One's that way, one's that way. If I go on options, I think it's video settings, particles, decreased, minimal, or all. So decreased. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's many particles. And if I go back onto it, minimal, you are really going to struggle to find them hearts. Okay, that was kind of nice. I think there's like a sound of their feet going in. Maybe I'm mistaken. Yeah, they do seem a bit floaty. It's quite interesting. I'm on a normal block, so maybe it's because it's not dirt. But yes, if you have the particles to minimal, you will not be able to find them hearts. But yes, the particle effect is very nice. I like the mix of grey and orange. Right, I am sick of hiding under this tree, so I'm going to go in creative. Okay, so while it's night time, I will talk about the look of this forest while more of these guys are spawning in. So as far as I'm aware, they always seem to spawn next to dark oak. Quite an interesting choice. I am presuming it is because the trees are, well, basically the same. Shape and size wise, they are very, very similar. And maybe, you know, you could add some lore of it's a cursed forest. Would be interesting to have a pale version of the mushrooms. But yes, I do like the look of the wood. The leaves are actually really nice. The vines, I think, look good. Nice addition, as well as the moss and the moss carpets. I really like that the moss carpet grows up the sides of walls. It seems to be random whether it's half a block or 1.5 blocks. If it is 1.5, you can remove it down to half. And then, like I said earlier, if you break that, it actually breaks the carpet itself. So to recap some of the changes I would like to see, I'd like some fog effect. It'd be nice and add to the atmosphere of the biome. I believe these biomes should be hostile mob free apart from the creaking. And if you're going to have hostile mobs, have neutral mobs as well. If you're living in one of these, it'd be nice to have access to sheep and such. However, my counter argument would be, if you're going to have hostile mobs spawn, have lichen. Have lichen dotted around, spawning naturally. I feel the lichen goes very well with the pale hanging moss, and just adding that little bit of light, I believe, would create a bit more atmosphere, and also reduce the amount of mobs that spawn. Okay, so I've set it to night time. This is the standard look you would get from the Pale Gardens. However, from the tree that I decorated earlier, I just feel like having patches of the glow lichen would look really nice. Reduce the hostile mobs, and I feel like it adds a lot of atmosphere to the biome. Because going back to the creaking, they aren't affected by light at all. It just seems to be the nighttime and daytime cycle. So even if you light up the forest completely, as long as you still got the hearts, they will spawn. Excuse me, you turned around. Ooh, you are kind of pushable when you're not sunk in. Interesting. Okay, so that noise seems to be them putting the feet in, but when they're not stuck in the ground, it does seem like they are pushable. So talking of the heart blocks, let's talk about all the new blocks. Okay, so I've gone to a nice open meadow, and here we have the new sapling. So as far as I'm aware, these have to grow in a 2x2 like the dark oak trees. However, I'm going to test that. Yeah, it does seem that way. Ooh, okay. So I've grown my first one. It actually grew with some of the moss, which is kind of cool. And the hanging moss. And what I'm curious about... yeah, they haven't got any of the heart blocks. There we go. Replace pale log. So that got rid of all the logs. Seems like there's no hearts. Let me try that again. Yeah, still no heart blocks. So maybe you can't actually grow your own. Okay, let's grow one more. And talk about the actual tree. So yes, it is very similar to a dark oak tree. Honestly, I don't know what to think of that. It seems a little cheaty. However, you know, all the trees in Minecraft are pretty simple. And it kind of gives you the chance to make your own. Because, you know, that's kind of what Minecraft's all about, right? Okay, so here I am at a desert, and actually there's a nice example here. So between different biomes, the leaves of certain trees can actually change. So we've got a jungle tree right on the edge between a desert and a jungle, and you can see in the desert the leaves are a lot more orange. So depending on where you actually place the leaves, depends on what they'll look like. Just like it is with the grass. But yes, let's grow a tree actually in the desert, just to show this off properly. So there we have it, very orange leaves, where is in the normal jungles we actually have very green, vibrant leaves. So what I'm curious about is how will pale oak trees look in the desert? Honestly, still very pale. I actually kind of like that feature. I was worried that they would look different in different biomes. I mean, this grass doesn't go with a moss at all. Pale grass? That could be nice. So this brings me on to the next experiment. Actually, you know what? Let's do one more quickly before that. Okay, so I've removed a lot of the trees. I can't find any hearts. Maybe they're not actually that common. Try that again, I'm curious. Oh, interesting. Okay. So out of all them trees, I can actually only find one. So it does seem like they are pretty rare. However, I'm sure that if you find a big enough garden, such as this one, you will be able to obtain quite a few. Okay, so we've tested what the pale oak looks like in different biomes. It seems to stay exactly the same. And now I'm going to check the other trees in the pale garden biome. See if they get more pale themselves. So the normal oak. Yeah, them leaves definitely do look more pale. That actually looks really nice. The logs seem very vibrant in contrast, but the leaves do look nice. For all them custom tree makers, I think this would make a nice palette. Though I'm not a builder, so, you know, let's see what the others look like. Okay, next up is the spruce, which honestly I don't think looks any different. The birch, same again, doesn't really look any different. Jungle, jungle looks a lot different. Interesting with the yellow still in there. I definitely favour the normal oak, but yeah, it's quite a unique look. Right, next up, the pale oak's cousin, the dark oak. Ooh. Okay, so yeah, again the leaves are very different. Let's try and grab one, because you can see in my hand how they're supposed to look. I mean, look at the jungle. But yeah, the dark oak, there's honestly not much difference. Okay, looking at them, yep, they're both exactly the same. So we've got dark oak leaves and oak leaves. Yep, they look exactly the same. Not a bad thing, however, would be nice if there was a bit of variance. Last up we have the cherry tree. Yep, still very vibrant cherry. So we're talking about contrast. One thing I would also like as a change is the dirt. Oh, there's two more hearts here. Maybe there was more than I thought. Oh, and another one there. Anyway, getting distracted. Running round, the sky changes, which is nice. The fog would add a lot. The trees look very eerie. Still want this lichen though, especially if there's going to be mob spawning. However, the dirt on the side of the grass blocks. Okay, I know there's ways to change this where the grass takes over the whole block. However, most players play like this. I do like the carpets interacting with the dirt. However, the brown on here is just so vibrant that it kind of takes you away from the atmosphere of the rest of the biome. Especially cutting down the trees, you end up with this, and it just stands out so much. Oh, we do have pale grass. I'm presuming it's just grass in a pale biome. That makes sense. Okay, next up we're going to talk more in detail about the moss. For this, I've set it to peaceful. I'm going to go in survival. I've given myself a hoe and some bone meal, but using my fist, it does seem like the pale moss basically reacts the same way as normal moss. You know what? Let's give me a moss block to actually do this scientific experiment properly. So the moss block, once bone mealed, spreads. It can grow these azalea bushes, which can go into azalea trees once bone mealed. And if we carry on bone mealing, you get the moss carpets. These moss carpets do not grow up the side like the new pale counterpart, but yes, doesn't take long even with a fist. And using a hoe, it just insta-mines it. So grabbing one of the pale moss blocks, use a bit of bone meal on this, and yeah, it spreads it exactly the same. However, we've got no bush variance, but we do have the carpets, and then the grass comes with it as well. And you can keep spreading. Unlike the other moss, fairly easy to mine with your hand. And then I'm presuming with a hoe. Oh, it's not Instamine. Interesting. I wonder what tool you need. A shovel? Nope. Pickaxe? Nope. What about shears? Nope. Because it is exactly the same speed as doing it with your hand. I feel like a hoe should work like it does on a normal moss. Maybe they've made it slower just to have that difference. With the carpets having the root effect on it, it does make it feel like it's a bit more grounded. So maybe that's the idea that they're going for. Talking of this root effect, it does seem random when you place the carpet of how high it's going to be. And like I said earlier, if it's too high, you can just break that top one off. However, breaking the second will destroy the carpet. So you can't have these carpets without having at least half. Can you bone meal? Yes, you can. But you can't go any higher than that. Okay. Why am I... Okay, you can waste bone meal on it. And then let's talk about the hanging moss. So you don't actually need shears, which is interesting. I feel like that's something they will change. And I'm presuming, yep, bone meal it to grow. And if I place one there, and turn up the random tick speed. It doesn't grow. Okay, so you can place more on, or you can bone meal. Good to know. Okay, so we've talked about the moss, the leaves, the hanging moss. Let's talk about the logs. So the logs work exactly the same as all the other logs. So like all the other woods, you can make all the other variants of blocks. Stripped, planks, fences and gates. The doors, which look really nice. Trapdoors, which also look really nice. Pressure plates, buttons, signs, boats, chest boats. It's only seeing it in game that I'm actually seeing that there's quite a bit of a pink tint to some of these blocks. Though I really do like the trapdoor and the door. The chest boat, however, that is quite a... just doesn't look right. But the logs themselves, I do like the texture, the cracked look on it, and the stripped variant as well, having the same pattern but a bit more subtle. The planks look nice, but like I say, it does have that pink tint to it. I was expecting a bit more of a grey look, but yes, the design on the door, and especially the trapdoor, I really like. But the reason I mention about the grey is just looking at the blocks in comparison to, say, the pale moss. There's quite a bit of contrast. I feel like the highlights should be more similar to this. That's what the leaves are, that's what the moss is, the hanging moss, but instead they've gone a bit pinkish. Which, don't get me wrong, I get there's definitely a pink tint to the logs, but it would have been nice if it was slightly different inside. And then we can't talk about the pale garden blocks without talking about the creaking cart. I really like the look of the creaking cart. It's the same on all four sides. On top you've got a pattern that shows how it's connected with the tree logs. Is it the same underneath? It is, but sitting on top of the log, it connects nicely. And then connecting a log underneath and a log on top activates it. Gives it this orange glow, which looks really nice. I'm curious, does this give off a light level? Okay, so currently the light for this block that I'm stood next to is 0. It stays at 0, unfortunately. I feel like it would be nice if this gave off like a dim light as well. But yes, to deactivate it, can get rid of the top plank or the bottom. I'm curious, does this work with other logs? It does not. Has to be the pale oak. And with it being activated, only then at night time will the creaking spawn. So if I set it to midnight, and let's light up the area with the glow lichen how it should be, does this spawn? Okay, I completely forgot I turned it to peaceful. So if I punch this guy, he's connected to the heart that I've placed. If I get rid of the top log, does that stop eventually? Or do we have to wait till morning? So it does seem like this will be active until the day. Going back to midnight. This heart doesn't activate. Okay, so overall, I really like the Pale Gardens. However, there are definitely some changes I would like to see. Okay, so overall, I really like the Pale Gardens. I think it's a fun addition. There's quite a few mods out there that have had like a weeping angel sort of mob added. So it's nice that we're going to get a vanilla one that's got similar aspects to it. It's a very interesting mob. The fact that we can't do any damage to it and we have to remove the heart from the tree itself. However, this is still experimental and I know that Mojang want some feedback on this. So I'm going to summarize the changes I would like to see. First of all, starting with the wood blocks that you can make from the pale oak logs. I really like the textures, however I would prefer it to be slightly less pink. It'd be nice to have a highlighting colour that is similar to the pale moss. The atmosphere for the biome, all the creaking noises and the effects are really eerie. However, like a lot of people suggested, it would be nice to have some sort of fog effect. Not as heavy as the blindness that I put on myself earlier, but just something to add to the atmosphere of the forest itself. Sorry, garden. Then with the mob spawning in the biome, the fact that there's no neutral mobs that spawn, such as sheep or cows, I can understand it to keep with the ambience. However, you've got the hostile mobs spawning, which I believe ruins it a little bit. Though I understand that you want this biome to be a threat during the night. I'd suggest dealing with this one of two ways. Either make the creaking a bit more OP, have their attacks do a bit more damage, or if you're going to stick with the hostile mobs, have the glow lichen. Even if you're not going to stick with the hostile mobs, still add the glow lichen. I feel like the glow lichen would add a lot to the atmosphere. Plus, if you're going to keep with the hostile mobs, it will reduce the rates. Because the creaking aren't affected by the light, that's not an issue at all. So I'd suggest adding the glow lichen or something similar. Maybe give the hanging moss the light source. And then my last issue that I would like to be solved is the dirt. Even on the grass blocks where most of it on the side is dirt, I feel like it's very vibrant and stands out a lot and ruins the effect that the garden is trying to give. So it's similar to how you have certain leaves look different in certain biomes. Same with the grass. It'd be nice if it happened to the dirt as well. Either that or add more pale moss. Pale moss all along the sides would help. However, you'll still end up with patches such as this below. But just something to cover up that dirt would make a lot of difference, or to change the look of it. Overall, I really like this addition. It's going to be a fun biome to explore. With the creaking and the creaking heart, I feel like that's just asking for pranks to be played on each other. However, I feel like you could make lots of mini games from it. Maybe get everyone to turn off their particle effects and they won't be able to find the hearts. But yes, I'll look forward to the actual proper release of this update. But for now, I'm going to end this with some fun experiments. Hello, Mr. Creaking. Okay, so he's kind of gliding along. Interesting. Okay, so I might have to do some baiting with this. Skellies did not make that easy. You really can't go in that boat, can you? Ooh, wait. Oh, so you can put these sideways. That is nice to know. Does that mean... Hey, that's fun. Ooh, that's cool. That, having a... I'm gonna have to experiment with this now. Now that could be really cool for a design. Let's just make this look a bit like how it should be. Okay, so what I'm curious about is, do the usual tricks like the rails and stuff stop these mobs? Let's try not to get killed by everything else. Seems they do. He couldn't really get out of there. Let's try with this one as well. Yep, they cannot get out of the rails. Good to know. So, from what I've heard, these guys can't go to the Nether. However, do these guys spawn? The hearts have lit up. I mean, time doesn't really matter in the Nether. Interesting. Again, it's lit up, but doesn't seem to be spawning. Okay, so we can't send it to the Nether, can't send it to the end. Maybe we can bring the Nether to the Creaking. Then when Hoglins come through, they turn to Zoglins. And the Zoglins do attack. And it is moving it around. Oh. Sounded like it got rooted in, but the Zoglin's still attacking it. So this is a nice toy for any pet zoglins that you may have. And this brings me to my next test. What about a Warden? Wow, okay. So I think that was just down to the time. So this is going to work well as a toy for the Warden. So the creaking that these guys make is actually attracting the Warden. And it seems like once they're stuck on a block, he can't move it. It is a toy for the Warden to play with. Well, until the sun rises. However, I believe the creaking can go out of bounds from their heart, and that way they will disintegrate. I do love that animation. And the Wardens as well. Ooh, I like how their lights turn on. So I think it's the first time that you look at them, it turns a light on and kind of activates them in a way. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for today. This has been me checking out the snapshot for the experimental Pale Gardens and the new mob that is a bit camera shy, the Creaking. Hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been a bit different. Let me know in the comment section what you think of the Pale Gardens. What do you think about my suggestions for the glow lichen and the fog? Are there any other additions or changes that you would like to see? But make sure you do all that YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and share. And I'll see you when I see you. That animation's really cool. So, I tried to do a zoom then, but I haven't got my mods. Hello people, Jaffa here, and welcome... No, not in Arcadia.